As I mentioned, Sheriff Rob Maciel in studio. If you have a question, good morning. If you have a question for the sheriff, you can give us a buzz. We wanted to have you on to talk about fireworks. Obviously, tomorrow's the 4th.
Sure.
So explain. I was confused on something because it's legal in Oneida County, but is it only legal until the 4th or for a month?
There's a misconception in general, people think that fireworks are legal. All right, that's incorrect. Fireworks are illegal, and they've always been illegal. There are certain exceptions to that, and that's what this local law allowed, that certain things could be sold during this week for the 4th of July, and then again during the week between Christmas and New Year's. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Why the Christmas, New Year's?
I'm assuming New Year's Eve celebration type thing.
Well, but you celebrate New Year's with fireworks.
Have you ever been to a celebration with fireworks?
Not before last year when they were legal.
There you go. That's what I mean. It's not, to me, the 4th and fireworks go hand in hand.
Right.
Where New Year's Eve, I mean, if you're in a warmer area, I could see it maybe, but I've never seen it here.
No, that's fine. You know, and I guess the easiest to speak in general terms, because this was, well, first, if I could backtrack a little bit, I was against this from the get-go. As you know, I lobbied with my colleagues in the fire service. They're the professionals. They produced data that, you know, this was going to cause harm to people, and it went through the process, public hearings, and it passed. So that's in the past, obviously, and it's law. So it's my job to enforce the law. So from this point on, obviously, that's what I'm doing. My role here at this point, I think, is to help educate people on what they can and can't do, because obviously there's certain things they can do, and to better understand what is specifically legal to possess. I sent two of my road patrol deputies, actually a supervisor and a deputy, went down to Majestic Fireworks in Yorkville, met with the owners. They're very good people. You know, they're definitely doing things within the confines of the law, and they explained everything to my deputies. They actually showed them physically what people can legally purchase. They showed them pictures of what people can't purchase and possess.
Sure.
And then one of my guys who was at this meeting with them put a general email out to everybody explaining things. So I wanted my people to get a better handling of it. So I want to thank the folks from Majestic for doing that for us. I know the Utica Police Department did the same thing. They met with them. And the easiest way to explain it, if you're lighting a device from the bottom, it's illegal because that's going to launch.
Okay.
Right.
If you're lighting a device from the top, then it's legal. All right, I guess that's the easiest way to explain that. Because basically what this is, this allows for the legal possession of sparklers, I guess if you use that general term. And then they get into some other, you know, obviously they're a lot more elaborate than
ground
sparklers.
Fountains or things like that.
Things like that. You know, and then there was a recall just the other day that went out nationwide, a recall of a specific type of fountain sparkler that was actually not lighting quick enough and then would explode into someone's face. Majestic never sold that product to begin with, so they don't have to worry about that. But a lot of these roadside businesses, these roadside tents, they may have some of those products on the shelf, so you got to be very careful about that. I know a concern that, you know, folks in the fire service, along with Majestic people, and they explained it to me, with the amount of rain we've had in the past few days, and these roadside tents, there's obviously, that's not a waterproof facility like a building is.
Sure.
That black powder gets damp and hardens up, people are going to be lighting it, and it's not going to be lighting quick enough to their satisfaction, and before they know it, they may have something go off in their face. So you have to be very careful about that if moisture gets in that product too. So again, you know, we want to make sure that obviously people that they're following the law, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're buying a decent product that's not going to, you know, even the ones that are legal, that's not going to explode in people's faces.
So the calls
for fireworks are still coming in.
Right.
I mean, we've been flooded with them the past couple of days. So the folks who are launching these bottle rockets and the folks who are launching these, you know, M80s, and that's still illegal, and you will get arrested for that. It's the you know,
bottle rockets too. You said anything that launches.
Again, I'm using the term rockets because they're launching absolutely, and these are things that can land on someone's roof. Yep. These are things that, I don't think we have to worry about grass fires right now, but still landing on a roof of a house and catching on fire. Those things that light and launch, those are illegal, and they've always been illegal.
So this is one of the things that Jeff and I were talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that you can purchase legally, the ground fountains or sparklers or whatever, you can only buy them in a certain amount of time, but you can set those off all year.
This is my confusion. You can legally purchase this week, for instance,
correct,
in the last week of the year,
correct.
But what if I'm having a cookout in 2 weeks? Can I light off some ground fountains?
You know, I wish I was prepared for that question. I would assume that you could, but I'm going to have to research that part of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my understanding was
we've been focusing so much on the purchase of things. That's where
right.
I kind of got lost in all of that.
Absolutely.
You know, and again, another note from my meeting the meeting my guys had, it said any of these items that you purchase legally in New York State have to have the words "shower of sparks" imprinted somewhere on there. That
shower of sparks.
Shower of sparks. That's in quote. It'll be printed on the label. If the label says anything other than that, such as flaming balls, things of that sort, they become airborne. Therefore, it's illegal.
Okay.
If the projectile becomes airborne, it's illegal. You can't.
This is great information. This is a great way to look at it. First of all, in general, if you light from the top, you're good.
Correct.
From the bottom, you're not. Correct. Know that going in.
Yep.
And then some of these other tips as well, because I think people want to have, whether they have a family or not, they have people over, they want to have like a nice little, some people do. I actually... It's so loud, it just drives me crazy. But
you know me, when we had the...
But people want to do it legally. They don't want to really get in trouble.
Exactly.
So.
And again, people have to take into consideration, those that are going to be doing the illegal things, because obviously we get such a volume of calls, and we can't get to all of them. And it's one of those things where if you pull down the street and there's 100 houses on the street, all right, how do we determine where it came from?
Right.
So again, try to be considerate of your neighbors, because we have people who have sensitive medical conditions, people with pets, things of that sort. And to the folks who own pets, obviously tomorrow is the 4th of July. Probably shouldn't have your pets out after dark. Probably should keep, especially if they're afraid of loud noise, get them inside, get them secure, things of that sort, and because we do get those calls too. Where, people's pets take off. I mean, they panic. They I have a couple animals at home when it storms.
Just a few.
They run out into the storm. It's like, why don't we stay inside where it's safe? No, we're going to run outside.
Just a few animals.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because before the break, during the break, we were talking about how this weather has been kind of strange from a farmer's perspective.
Incredible.
A lot of people worrying about the corn crop this year. Strawberries and blueberries doing great. With the last 2 years, they've done terribly.
Corn is not.
Hay, you said?
This time last year, most farmers had, including ourselves, had their barns full of first cutting hay. I mean, we have none right now. It's just the ground is so wet. Finally stopped raining, but our issue is now, because we're on wet land, you're going to need a week for it to dry out before you can actually go cut the hay.
Standing water.
And it's, our hay field out back, it's all standing water out in the field. It has nowhere to go. The ground is so saturated. Luckily, we got the heavy rain, but we didn't deal with the flooding issues like the suburban and city areas did. We're wide open. We don't have the massive parking lots. We don't have the sanitary and storm sewer systems. Out in the country, it's it's wide open. So that's the difference when you get that heavy rain. I was out in the storm yesterday. Just amazing work done by the fire departments and in public works. Obviously law enforcement was out there by their side, but we're not equipped to handle all that stuff. We're more of a support service for DPW and for fire departments. But neighbors helping neighbors, people they were getting creative. They were using any way they could to help get their neighbors out, and just a lot of tragedy yesterday. And there's going to be cleanup for weeks and months ahead.
And while we've got you on the air, I want to just talk about...
Can I do one more fireworks thing?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Is there a even though it's legal, if you're doing something legal, is there a time restriction? Because I was trying to fall asleep last night.
You've also got to look... Now, all these municipalities have noise ordinances.
Okay.
So, again, they're all different. Some don't have any. Some do. Some have specific times. Some use the half hour before sunset type of thing, which is confusing. I never supported that concept because the sunset changes every day. So it's a different time each day. Typically it's your 10 o'clock, your 11 o'clock, that type of thing. So again, whatever town or village you live in, you've definitely got to keep that in, take that into consideration, because even though you can possess something legal, it doesn't exempt you from following the noise ordinance,
setting off fireworks at 11:30 at night, something like that. Go ahead, sorry.
So while we have you on, a couple stories last week, very, very sad stories about motorcycle accidents. We had in Utica, a young man, 19 years old, died in a motorcycle accident. Another woman was struck as she was walking her dogs. I hate to keep reiterating it, but it's important now because, both from a rider's standpoint and other drivers, talk about how you have to pay attention all the time if you're on a motorcycle or if you're around them.
Absolutely. You know, again, we didn't handle either of those accidents, the sheriff's office. They were handled by other agencies. But so speaking in general terms, I mean, you know, folks have to really be aware of you know, speed restrictions, you know, driver inattention. We find time and time again, you know, people are not paying attention to what's in front of them when they're operating a vehicle, whether we're talking a car, a motorcycle, or even a boat. I mean, we can speak in general terms here. You know, when I say we, our lifestyles are so high paced right now. Everyone's going in a million different directions. We're surrounded by this modern technology. You know, we don't want to be out of touch with things for more than 2.5 seconds. So we're constantly, you know, looking at electronic devices. We're racing to get somewhere. You know, again, I cannot stress enough, when you're operating a motor vehicle, a motorcycle, a boat, whatever it is, you've got to focus on what you're doing. That needs your attention, not what's going off in the car. Or, you know what, if I'd much rather have someone arrive late than not arrive at all. You know, and you see tragedy. Obviously, no matter who's involved in an accident, it's all tragic. But when someone's out there, you know, walking their own dog, minding their own business, or someone jogging on the opposite side of the road. We've seen that in the past, where drunk drivers have crossed over in the opposite lane and, you know, and killed folks jogging or walking. Or, you know, you look back at, and we've celebrated this is something that's not new. I mean, the Ted Moore run, we've celebrated that anniversary with a run in Ted's honor. Here's a professor from the college out jogging, minding his own business on the opposite side of the road, was struck and killed by a drunk driver. So, you know, those are tragic things that we can prevent by, you know, not drinking and driving, by paying attention, by following the speed limit, by not being distracted by other things. Again, those specific accidents, I don't know any of the details, right, because we weren't involved in either one of those. But again, like I said, it's just we see this time and time again, and we're out here educating folks. I mean, the media is a great partner for us. We talk about snowmobile safety in the winter, boater safety in the summer, driver safety year-round, prom safety before the proms, and graduation party safety. But we see time and time again that these, you know, obviously a bulk of the people, if not, you know, 98% of the people are listening to us, but it's that 2%. And unfortunately, when these things happen, they usually are tragic, and you know, and it's very difficult.
And you talk about statewide, you know, it is a holiday weekend, is a holiday. Ride-sharing apps are now legal, so
there's no
use
excuse.
them.
I mean, you know, we tell people all the time to have a plan. There's absolutely no excuse why you have to drink and drive. I mean, I say it all the time, and I am certainly not arrogant or being, you know, if you want to drink, that's your business. But if you're going to drink and drive, that's my business. I mean, we are out there full force like the other law enforcement agencies. We have a little bit more on our plate with Marine patrols at the same time. But again, we want to ensure everyone's safety, and that's why we're out there. We're not out there to ruin your life by arresting you for DWI, or to ruin your boat or weekend by you know, arresting you and seizing your boat because you were operating while intoxicated with 8 passengers on your boat, and not everybody had life jackets. I mean, those are things we continuously see time and time again.
You know, and sometimes you'll get a warning for something, and maybe if you don't have a seatbelt or something like that, but you guys can't turn your heads on that, because people can.
I mean, we cannot.
Can be killed.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's our job to keep people safe. So, yeah. I mean, it's one thing if you know, we pull someone over and they're going 12 miles over the speed limit because they're on their way to, you know, to the emergency room, or they're on their way to help their elderly mom who fell down. Don't get me wrong, officers use discretion all the time.
Sure.
But you know, when we stop someone for 96 miles an hour in a 55 on a crotch rocket motorcycle, and we had to chase them 4.5 miles before they stopped, you know, those are things that just, you know, those are things that shouldn't be happening. And like I said, those can't be tolerated.
All right. Sheriff, thank you.
Absolutely.
Everyone stay safe this weekend. Have a great this weekend, where it's Monday. Stay safe for the next couple of days as you're celebrating, and don't get too angry at your neighbors for setting off fireworks. But if it's late, if it's getting outrageous, you can go ahead and call.
And like I said, if anyone's got any questions, I mean, certainly contact local law enforcement. But I know the folks over at the Majestic, where I was where my guys were the other day, they are great business people. They're just trying to educate the folks. So I know they'd be willing to do that for anybody that walked in. So
excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Oneida County Sheriff Rob Maciel, have a great 4th. We'll take a quick time out. A news
and
update.
Congrats to your daughter, by the way.
Thank you. Yes, second generation of the Maciel family in law enforcement now.
Yep.
Oh, no kidding.
My daughter Amanda
One of the newest UPD recruits.
She was hired by the Utica Police Department, and she graduated.
She didn't know anyone in the sheriff's office?
If you asked her,
kidding.
she said she'll tell you that I love my dad dearly. I have to live with him, well, not anymore, because obviously she's going to be a resident in the city of Utica. But she said, I don't know as though I'd want to work for my father every day. But she wants to be a cop, and we wish her nothing but success. And it's a dangerous job, but like I said, there's nothing more rewarding. There's not a day that goes by that a police officer can't go to work knowing they're going to help someone or make a positive difference in someone's life. So, again, we're excited. She'll be in the police academy for the next 6 months, and hopefully she doesn't run for sheriff before I'm done.
You've got to be proud of that, though, right?
Absolutely. No, it's awesome. No, it's really neat. She's wanted to be a police officer since she was little. And as soon as she got out of college, she started taking civil service exams, actually while she was still in college. But as soon as she got out, a couple of law enforcement agencies started doing her backgrounds, and the Utica Police Department offered her a job 2 weeks ago, and she's actually in a classroom right now. I think
awesome.
they're taking a penal law test today or something. So
excellent.
Beautiful.